gorilla stomping in a zoo. Check the vocals, animals gather right. Boom.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today we got a short little project to start the day at least. We could end up doing more, but we'll see how the weather goes. There's some really gray clouds over in the south there, so depending on if they're headed this way, we could end up with rain. But anyways, the project for today is going to be a feeder. The chicks have been knocking that little bottle feeder over repeatedly, and just doesn't seem to be a good design because they just peck at it and the feed keeps on coming down and coming down. And within an hour of filling up the feeder, they have it emptied out onto the floor of the coop. So after watching numerous videos online and different feeder designs, I've chosen the one that we're going to make. So we got some PVC pipe, and we're going to progress now and start making that. So watch as we go along. I won't try and describe it all with words because it just wouldn't come out right anyways. So pretty much have to watch and see what we do. And if you're currently searching for feeder ideas, you've probably come across this design already. This is not my design, but we're going to copy it and make it and see how it turns out. So first and foremost, this is a sanitary tee, and I need to start a cut halfway through this join right here, go down on an angle right here. So I got the table saw set up behind me with a 45-degree angle on the blade, and I will be making that cut to begin. So without further ado, we'll start with that cut, see how it turns out, and go from there. Alright, so as we just mentioned, we're going to be coming about halfway up, and we're going to be sawing down at a 45, trying to kind of join up with this area here. Alright, so something like this. Alright, that's the piece we want to take off, and this is going to be kind of filled like so. Alright, so you kind of have like a little roof over the feeding area to keep any moisture out if you're using this outside, but you'll also take away enough so that they can get their beaks in to the reservoir of food that's going to be right here. And hopefully this angle right here will prevent extra food from pouring out as they peck. Alright, so I got my 45-degree angle on the saw, maximum height as best as I could do, and I'm hoping I'm going to feed this through like so, and hopefully that 45 will take this off both sides. So that's the goal. Let's see how it turns out. And there we are. That's the angle cut, just like so. So that turned out quite well, and I'll use a Dremel and polish that up. So I'm actually going to be making 2 of these, so I'm going to get the second one, and we'll make that cut now as well. And there we are. It's number 2 done. Not too bad at all. Alright, so this part is optional. Alright, I got just a rotary tool, a Dremel, and we will take down some of these sharper edges here. Alright, now they're not sharp enough to cut your chickens. Alright, this is kind of just going above and beyond. Alright, the chickens would survive this easily without getting any slices on them. But we're just going to take down the edges, round them off a little bit, polish them out, just for the sense of completion, okay? So with that, I'll get this tool opened up and put on just a sanding bit, should be enough. One of the little sanding drums. And we'll get to polishing this up. Alright, so let's take a look inside the box here. You got your different tools. Here's sanding drums and more sanding bits here. We'll have those ready to go. And then we have the actual rotary tool itself and the cord. So we'll get all that ready to rock. Alright, so we can get rid of this box for now. Now we'll have a choice of tools. Now, so we'll probably go for one of these rounded cone shapes. I think would be a nice option. And it's already attached to the post. No need to tighten any screws. It's just ready to go. So get this loosened up. You hold your button here to keep the chock in place. And loosen it up. And that should be tight enough, all right, for the purposes of what we're doing. All right, so we'll get this plugged in, ready to go, and we'll start doing some polishing. All right, so for this particular model, it has on and off switch down below, and then adjustable speeds on top. All right, setting 1, and max. Alright, so we're going for sanding, not melting. So we'll keep it down on low settings, start off there, and if we need to work up a little bit, that's what we'll do.
Is it off again?
That one's off again. So this one's done. So keep in mind now, I don't have a respirator on, so I'm being very mindful of my breathing, not to be breathing in deep. I'm breathing more through my nose because there is some fine particles coming off this with the Dremel. Okay, so always keep that in mind. Protect your airway, and on to the next piece. Alright, so that's number 2 done. So I'm just going to take the leaf blower, clear these off a little bit, and this part is complete.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just pointed at me.
Alright, so that's those done. We'll move on to the next step. Alright, next step. We got this PVC grill, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know anymore, to be honest with you. But anyways, this grill, it fits inside the bottom of the sanitary tee, like so, okay? But before we put that in there, I got the lid off of an ice cream tub, and I'm going to trace this out and cut it. Alright, so that we got a piece of plastic that goes the same size as the grill, so that when you take that, you put the piece on there, put that up in your sanitary tee. Inside the sanitary tee, it'll create a floor, alright? And that's where your feed is going to rest. So, with that said, put the sanitary tees aside. Put the lid down, center the grill, take your marker, trace around. Like so. And you're going to take some shears, some scissors, and cut that out. Alright, so we got that cut out and dropped. Alright, so there we are. It's going to fit on top. May need to take a little smidge off, just because the tracing was a little bit bigger. Let's just take a little more. Alright, so we'll get a sanitary tee. Let's see if that'll fit up inside there. See inside? I'll just take that out for a second to show you again. Okay, so you got your grill side up. Get your plate that you just made out of your ice cream tub lid, or any kind of flat plastic like that. The bottom of your sanitary tee. Put it in there together, and I'll show you from the top as that goes up in place. Creates a floor, alright, for the feed. Alright, so with that created, we can put some glue on it, but I'm just going to dry fit this for now. This is going to be inside, does not need to be watertight because it's going to be in the coop. Okay, so the next phase we'll get to right now. Alright, so for the next phase, we need an actual feed director, we'll say. Alright, because you're coming into a 4-inch PVC. It's no good of having 4 inches of feed just pouring down in this chamber and overflowing. You need a regulator of some form. So that's where this comes into place. Now, if you're going out looking for your supplies, keep in mind this is a PVC sanitary tee. In order to get a 4 to 2 reducer, this is ABS. Alright? PVC fittings in my area are becoming more and more difficult to find. So I went to the ABS section, found this reducer, and that's the one that actually fits down inside the tee. Alright? So when that's squeezed down in there, we'll probably have to hammer it in a little bit to get it to fit perfectly. But inside you'll see the reducer. Alright? And off of that reducer is, we're going to have the 2-inch pipe. So I got the 2-inch pipe, that'll be in there. But we need to find the right length of pipe that once it's all squeezed together, ends up with the pipe just above the floor that we just put in with that grill and the ice cream tub, okay? So you want a little bit of space for the feed to be able to make its way out, but not overflow. Okay, so it's going to be a fine line there of finding that sweet spot, okay? So it's going to be a bit of trial and error, and we'll figure out what length we need, okay? So what I'm thinking is this is probably going to sit about so deep. Alright, so we're probably not going to need very much. By the time I hammer this down into place, it's probably going to be halfway down through. I may leave a little bit up past this bevel inside. Maybe if it's just barely hammered into place, it might be good enough. Right, so you see that inside, and then we'll put a bit of piping down. So yeah, this is where the trial and error comes into place. I'll get a measurement very shortly between the floor and where the reducer is right now. It's probably about 4 inches there right now. So I'm thinking probably a 3-inch piece of pipe may be good. Because by the time that fits up into the reducer, so I'll probably start with 3 inches, and we'll try that and see how it goes. You'll get all my final measurements when we're done though, okay? So you'll have the benefit of knowing what I do. But for me right now, this is going to be trial and error. So I'm going to start off with 3 inches, okay? See how that goes. Alright, so there's my 3-inch piece done. My reducer. Alright, up the end in there. And then put that down in sanitary tea like that. And let's have a look. So inside, probably see that it has good distance from the base, and that's just loosely put in there, okay? So by the time I hammer that down, probably an inch or so, we should have a nice distance from the bottom. So I think 3 inches is going to do it. I'll polish this tube up a little bit. Alright, so that's all tidied up. Loose bits are all cleaned off there. Alright, so let's take our reducer, get this lined up and set in place. Okay, next I'll lower the camera here now, show you my attempts at getting this to seal inside. I'm probably going to get a piece of wood, put it down in the reducer, and then bang it down with a hammer. So we'll see how good an idea that is now that we do it. Alright, so for the wood, I just got 2 scrap pieces from when we were doing the windows and the door insulation. Same length. I'm just going to put those down like so. And hopefully this will go down in place like it did. You look inside there. Alright, that reducer is set. Didn't need to go in far. Alright, we got our grill underneath. And the big thing is when you look in the feeder hole, that your distribution pipe in the bottom is down lower than this most bottomly point. Alright, so that will keep them from being able to flick the feed out and just have a constant pour of it coming out of the neck. So I'm going to take the leaf blower, blow all the dust out of this, and it's in a good enough condition now for a test, okay? And we'll test how it feeds. Alright, so we got our feeder, red Solo cup. and a bag of feed. So we'll start with a healthy amount. Alright, make sure we get the full effect. Alright, I'm going to bring you guys down closer as we pour this in. Alright, so here we go. We will fill up the feeder. Let's see how it turns out. I have not done this already, okay? We're doing this together. There you are. It's the feed on the bottom. We can shake that out any way we see fit. And it stays down there. So they should be able to peck down at this, and it should be enough of a grade here to keep them from flicking a whole lot of it out onto the ground. Okay. So the only thing left to do is cut off some 4-inch pipe on top for a feeding reservoir, and this is ready to go into the coop. Alright, so for the feed reservoir that we're going to put on top of this, I went up to the coop and I measured the wall, and it's about 42 inches high. So I want a little bit of wiggle room there, and as well we got to accommodate for this base now. So what I'm figuring is probably an overall length of 36 inches or 3 feet. So 3 feet total minus 9 inches for this base here gives us about 27-inch length of pipe that we're going to want to add to the top of this as the reservoir. So I'll measure that up, got the miter saw ready, and we'll cut that pipe. Now that we got our 27-inch pipe done, cleaned up the ends of it, and I blew that out with the leaf blower. So at this point in time, we'll take our base and we'll carefully get our pipe lined up. And here we go. So I felt that slide around that reducer as well, okay? Let's seat it in there nicely. Like I say, we're not doing any glue on this one. This is inside the coop. It's not going to be exposed to the elements. When we do, which we will eventually, when we do an outside one, that's when we'll be gluing everything, okay? And sealing it up watertight so the feed doesn't get moldy and wet. But as of now, we got this much done. So there's only one last thing to do. And that is in the case of them flying up on top of this. And I'll show you what I have for that. Alright, and what I have is a female adapter with a plug. Alright, just a screw-on plug, like so. Alright, that goes tight enough. And female adapter will just go on like so. And there we go. That is the completed feeder. Alright, pretty simple. So we'll get this filled up and put in the coop. Alright, so as far as securing this in the coop, I'm just going to use some hardware cloth. Cut off a piece big enough to wrap around the pipe, get into the corners, and that'll secure that nicely. Alright, at least it'll just be in with a few staples, and if it needs to be removed, very easy to just haul that out with pliers. And so I'll go ahead, cut this to size, and we'll see you up at the coop. We'll go and install this. Alright, so here we are at the coop. Just taking the old riser block out of the corner. I've already removed the feeder, so we're ready to install our new PVC automatic feeder. One thing I wanted to note to you guys as well is if you're dry fitting it like me without any glue, make sure you're careful when you're carrying it. I got that full of feed right now, and the base plate could fall out without realizing it. The top reservoir pipe could come off. Anything like that could happen, so make sure you're grabbing it right underneath when you're carrying it. So I'm going to lay it in the corner here now. Alright, so I'll make some room for it. And I'll get it situated on an angle is good enough for me. So now I'll get the mesh and the staple gun. Like so. And we'll get that molded in as we see fit. I'll get my clippers later and take this extra mesh off. I definitely overestimated what I needed, but it's better to have too much than not enough. So that is in place. Fill the shavings in around the base. Take the riser block out of here, and let's wait and see if these guys figure out how to use the new feeder. So the chickens aren't totally into the feeder just yet, but I'm confident enough that they're going to find it eventually once all the little bits of food down in the wood shavings are gone. If they get hungry enough, I'm sure they'll start picking inside there. There's no reason for them not to, really. They might be a bit hesitant to put their head inside of an enclosed space. That might be one deterrent for them. But otherwise, really, there's no real reason they won't start eating from that eventually. So I'm happy enough to let them figure it out and learn. It's all set up. Seems to be working correctly. If I dig down and move a bit of food out of the way, the rest easily comes down and replaces it. So all is well. Feeder is complete. Alright, so that's going to wrap up today's video on the automatic feeder. Hopefully it'll prevent the wastage of food, and the chicks will be using that properly now for the time being and time to come. So I hope you guys have learned something. Maybe you can put the same design into practice yourselves, and we'll give you some updates in the future on how it continues to work out for us. So until next time, I hope you're happy, hope you're healthy, take care of each other.
And
Peace out!